Welcome to the Soul Call with Kelly B. I'm Kelly Butchart, soul medicine woman, energy alchemist, intuitive guide and change maker. I'm here to activate soul remembrance, unlock purpose and support the personal and collective evolution into sacred sovereignty. This podcast is a space for heart-led women to rise, to take their power back, to walk in truth and live elevated lives of joy, abundance and deep fulfillment. Through powerful conversations with visionaries, way-showers and spiritual leaders, we weave ancient wisdom, quantum healing and divine insight to awaken something within your soul. This is more than a podcast, it's a movement, a remembering. This is the Soul Call. All of my offerings, social links and ways to connect are in the show notes below each episode. Be sure to check them out. I'd love to meet you there. And please remember to like, subscribe and share. Thank you for being here. Hi everyone and welcome back to the Soul Call with Kelly B. This is the podcast where we explore what it truly means to live, lead and learn with soul. This space is devoted to real conversations with women who are rising, awakening and walking their unique soul path with purpose and power. And today's guest is the perfect embodiment of that journey. Sheryl Findlay is an international life coach, motivational speaker and athlete on a mission to help others build superstar level confidence from the inside out. After a 17-year global career in marketing, branding and communications, her life took a powerful turn when she was diagnosed with cancer, a moment that led her to completely reevaluate her path and purpose. Since then, Sheryl has transformed her own life in the most remarkable ways. Now an ACCP accredited life coach, she supports others who are ready to step into an extraordinary life, one rooted in clarity, confidence, and deep lasting change. She's also undergone an incredible physical transformation. Wait to hear this. Losing an astonishing 17 stones, and now competes in fitness competitions around the world. Her story is one of resilience, reinvention, and radical self-belief. Through Sheryl's one-to-one coaching and her powerful membership community, Sheryl's Success Sanctuary, she helps others reimagine what's possible, guiding them with a blend of heart, mind, and soul into their next chapter. So get ready, because this conversation is full of energy, truth, and inspiration. Let's dive in with the incredible Sheryl Findlay. Welcome, Sheryl.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here. You and I had like an instant connection when we met, and so I can't wait to see where this conversation goes. And for such a warm welcome as well. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And we really did have an instant connection. And I'm sure for those of you that, whether you're watching this on YouTube and see this beautiful, beautiful woman sitting in front of me with the most incredible light, because everything's energy, right? You have got this incredible magnetic energy, Sheryl. And even if you can't see Sheryl, if you're tuning in on Spotify or some of the other audio platforms, you will hear the resonance in Sheryl's voice. She carries the most exquisite energy. And that was what magnetised me to you, Sheryl. So it's so great to connect with you, to have this beautiful conversation today. So thank you for your time today. I know that you're a very, very busy lady. You are in demand because of your incredible, authentic way, and that's what I connect with too, the authenticity that you emanate, the authentic way that you reach out to really help women, and your passion for that really, really speaks volumes. So I would love to rewind a little bit, Sheryl, if you don't mind. I want to just like backpedal to whatever point you feel that you wish to land to start this conversation in, because we've heard in your introduction that you've had a journey with cancer, you've had a journey with weight loss. My God, that was an incredible journey. It's all an incredible journey. I'd like you just to backpedal, as I say, to the point where you really started to awaken to your purpose, your why. So yeah, just wherever you wish to start with that, and what has really brought you to this point now in your life where you are Sheryl Findlay, as in showing up in this way.
It's a great question, and actually, it links so beautifully to your opening. You spoke about my passion and my purpose to help others. The reason that I do it in such an authentic way is because I remember how it felt to feel stuck, to feel limited, to feel smaller than I knew I had potential of being. And so I think where I would probably take it back to is that almost that moment of reawakening. There was a photograph of me that I had seen from a friend's wedding. Now, I knew that I was not living my healthiest, happiest lifestyle, fitness, moving my body, all of those things. Um, and I remember seeing this photograph. Now, my mental well-being had always been also been on a downward trajectory as well. So everything for me was like fantastic. Had a fantastic upbringing, great childhood. I'm the youngest of three sisters, surrounded by love, real beautiful, hardworking parents, like just as idyllic a childhood as one could imagine. But then as we start going through our adolescence and especially as women, I think we take on a lot of opinions and beliefs. And then we try to sort of interpret, well, what does that mean for me? And how does that match with my ambition and how I feel? And the world honestly just becomes quite a complicated place. And the way I tried to make sense of that when I didn't have the tools, the skills, the support, the coaching before I had access to all of these phenomenal life-changing resources. And we're going in quite deep and heavy here, so I hope that's okay. But
Absolutely.
the way that kind of came up for me was complete neglect of oneself, of my physical self, of my mental self, and um, it led me to really struggle with disordered eating, to be honest. And the the more my self-worth and my opinion of myself dropped and depleted, the worse it all became. Because as we know, we become what we think about. And if we are consumed with thoughts of self-loathing, um, that's just going to grow. And so I found myself at the age of 23, 24, extremely overweight. I was a UK size 26 at that point. Now, I do really want to caveat, Kelly, that for me, this is never about um, being a smaller size equaling more worth. And I want to be really clear about that because your size does not determine your worth or your value. However, the way you treat yourself, speak to yourself, show up for yourself, the way you love yourself through nourishment, through exercise, that absolutely counts. It absolutely matters. Um, and it amplifies, when we can flip the switch. And I'll talk a little bit about how I've been able to do that because it's probably the question I get asked most in my DMs is like, how on earth did you lose this weight? Like, tell me your secret. And so I will share all my secrets. Of course, that's what I'm here to do. And that's my mission on this earth is to help as many people as possible through my own lessons and learnings. So I found myself at this real pivot point. I seen this picture of myself from a friend's wedding, and I was like, I was heartbroken. And I remembered the day feeling it was a very warm day, beautiful wedding. Um, I remember feeling very, very uncomfortable within my body, within my dress, and um, oh, I was so lost. I was just so lost, and I knew something had to change. Luckily for me, kind of running parallel to that, I've always been a highly, highly ambitious person. And I've always had, like, I'm not short of confidence. I believe I was gifted a more than ample amount. And that's why I share it so freely with anyone else who needs a little top up of their confidence stock. I got you, right? It's my currency. But also some of that was nurture as well. My mum really wanted me to have a voice and to make sure that I felt empowered to use that voice. And even from an early age, my elder sisters would be told, like, give Cheryl a turn. Cheryl, what do you have to say? And so she put me to the front. She inspired me to have a voice and like I said, empowered me. Something phenomenal that I took from my dad was his real like work ethic. He was like, you need to contribute towards society. If someone's paying you £1 for, a job, you do it to the best of your ability. So I had this real combination of like confidence and excellence when I was growing up. And I would actually say it was more like external factors that took me on a bit of a journey as opposed to like the home environment. And I think that's actually quite important, right? Because everything could be setting you up for success. And not that I came from extreme privilege, I didn't, but then like two loving parents is privilege. Like I'm so lucky. But it can still all take a turn. And so it doesn't matter. And I think that's something else that's really important as well as like, I think I've mentioned this to you before, Kelly, but you know the Oprah Winfrey quote that's like, I am responsible for everything I have, everything I am, and everything I ever will be. And that, plus the picture, plus just knowing like, my little soul is just fading away here. And all that light, the lovely light that you mentioned in the intro, I feel that light. And I do feel like a magnetic person, but it was my light, my light was being extinguished through my own choices. Um, and so what did I do? I knew something had to change. Um, and I was at university at the time. I was studying a marketing degree. And I'd had a couple of stop starts with university actually. It wasn't just as simple as that, nothing ever is. Um, and this was the one though, this was sticking this time. And I reached out for help. I started therapy, I started working with a nutritionist, and I cannot tell you, Kelly, like literally it was just like the perfect little trifecta that I had around me. Um, Running parallel to this, I have loads of like weaves and strands of my story. I'd also been living with undiagnosed gallstones as well, and so I had lived with like a lot of pain. And but when you're extremely overweight like that, everything gets pinned to your weight,
Mhm.
which is actually quite dangerous. But something just clicked, and as soon as I started to take better care of myself, of how I was hydrating, really, really simple, basic things, getting 5 fruit and veg a day, making sure I was eating like regularly every 4 hours, getting my sleep, moving my body. And it wasn't like the type of training I do now, obviously. It was like out a walk, just do something to move your body. And I cannot tell you the results, and I mean results in terms of like feeling amazing, were immediate. Like a day later, I was like, wow, fruit really works. Who knew?
Mm. Wow. Wow. So this is really beautiful how you have, framed this up with the foundations were there. You had this beautiful home experience. You grew up in a very loving home. You had the beautiful role models. It sounds like you had the most incredible parents to really set you up to for success. The confidence, the excellence, like all of that, all the good stuff that you would hope that good parenting would provide. And yet there was this disharmony within which was creating your body to um have a bigger voice. It was saying you need to pay attention here, almost to the point where it was screaming at you. Now I resonate with this. You mentioned gallstones, for example, which can be very, very painful as
Very
well.
easily.
So that's when the dis-ease has set into the body, which can manifest as physical ailments, as you've described. So the gallbladder's an interesting one because that's where we store frustration and resentment. So your body had got to a point where it's really asking you to pay attention. And so having the courage to then seek for help, because we can't do all of this alone, right? So the honesty, I love that, that you've even shared that, the honesty of, it wasn't like a tragic upbringing. I had nobody to blame or anything like that. It's like, this is the choices that we have. It's taking that self-responsibility for ourselves. So I love how you've shared that so honestly, and then having the courage to ask for help and seeking the right kind of help to
Yeah.
honour where you were. I would love for you just to reflect on that. It sounds like a sort of like an awakening moment, if you like, a pivot point, whatever you want to call it. It was an anchor point in your life. How were you feeling emotionally there? Like how low had it got? Was it really quite a sort of dark night of the soul, or was it not as profound as that? Was it just like, gosh, I need to do something here?
No, it was dark. And Um, I think often my sunny demeanor, because I'm such a happy soul, right, can make it seem like, oh, well, that was easy. Truth be told, I experienced some trauma in my teens.
Right.
And this was my way of figuring, like trying to cope and navigate and everything. So that's where a lot of my less helpful coping strategies came from, right? We know that we just do whatever we can. But
Right.
the one like significant moment, I was living in the halls of residence through university, and the pain within my body, gallstones, yes, but just general pain in my mind and my heart and my soul and in my body, had become too much. And I'm gonna a little trigger warning here. Um, I didn't think there was a way out, really.
Hmm.
And I felt so lost, so trapped, so alone. And the only way I could think of, and when I say escaping the pain, I do mean the physical pain,
Hmm.
but I was in a lot of mental pain at that point as well. Um, I took too many painkillers, and I had a very panicked, sad, intense call to my dad. I phoned and I was like, I'm not well. Something's wrong. You need to come get me and take me to the hospital. And I hadn't, perhaps sounds a little more dramatic than it was. I hadn't like, tried to do anything intentionally. I was genuinely just trying to ease my pain. And he came and picked me up and scooped me into the car and took me to the hospital. And that night, it changed everything. It changed the trajectory of my life completely because that was the catalyst for
Hmm.
me getting access to the help that I needed. Counselling followed, working with a dietitian followed. I had a visit from the CPN, like the clinical psychology nurse. And that is what they were worried about me.
Hmm.
Um, and so it really was up until that point, the worst moment of my life. There's been a few since then. I'm sure we'll get to them. But yeah, it really was, and it was uh, definitely a cracking open of oneself, let's say.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that so openly and honestly because we don't want to open up like painful wounds, but um, I think there is such resonance with what you're sharing, Cheryl. You know, there'll be many women who resonate with this story, as you'll know, so, so deeply, because we're very good at masking, especially as women. We put the smile on, like you say, you know, we're very good at like, holding it all together on the inside and appearing a different way on the outside, like we've got it all together. And a lot of that is a coping mechanism as well. It's like, let's get on, but it's also the resilience, it's to keep going. But it's so important to recognize what's going on underneath the deeper emotional stuff because we can bypass that until it gets to a point where it can be a crisis point for us, which can also be a clarion call, this incredible wake up call to say, come on now, let's come back to love and compassion for yourself. And I guess I was really wanting to just weave in for women because we can also be quite judgmental at times as women. We can sometimes look at somebody like Cheryl, like your beautiful self, and say, gosh, you've got your life all sorted and all together. And well, it's easy for you to say, or, well, she doesn't know what it feels like to be me because like she's not been on my journey. And I guess, what we need to remember is that it would be wrong to have these assumptions because you have had quite the journey, to get to this point. And it's been a lot of what I would consider to be devotional work to yourself
Absolutely.
on the inside and the outside and bringing everything home to love, to the deepest places of love and compassion for yourself. So thank you so much for sharing that. And of course, the journey's not over. We're living our life every day, but I'd like to just come forward to another hugely pivotal moment in your life where, again, if I often do this with client work, I'll ask them to do a timeline of their life. And the reason I do that is because we can often, we can hurdle over quite significant points, or we can choose to not dismiss or forget big, big moments in our life. But it's almost like, right, that chapter's closed now. I'm on to this next chapter. But actually, it's also loving and embracing the shadow that's come up for us, loving, embracing the challenges, because that's been our real growth points. That's been how we evolve as humans and as souls. And my goodness, you've had your fair share up to this point in your journey. So, I would love to come forward to like you had this joyous moment, this celebration of getting married and meeting your beautiful, beautiful husband. But then there was also another hugely pivotal moment in your life, the cancer diagnosis. I would love for you to share whatever you're comfortable to share about the lessons and the gifts and the learning of all of that too.
Totally, and hold on to your hats because it's perhaps more than you are even aware, Kelly. And it's like, listen, thank you so much for saying you appreciate me being honest and vulnerable and open. I always will, and it's why I started online, whatever online means. Like I started blogging. I'd done a secondment to Hong Kong with work, and whilst I was there, I was like, I'm going to write about stuff. And I started writing like travel, and then literally within a week, it had taken me like deep, deep soul writing. That's where I went super quick and spoke a lot about weight loss and all the things and everything I'd been through. And I'd showed up online in various different ways with my number one driver always being to be honest and share like the light and shade of it all. So I will always do that. And I'm more than happy to share as well about what has been the most significant chapter of my story. Hopefully the hardest one I'll face, but who knows? I'm only like mid-30s, so still got a long way to go. Um, as you mentioned, I was a newlywed in 2019. Um, and 3 months after I was married, I had went for a colposcopy. I'd had abnormal cells in my smear test, went for a colposcopy, and during the appointment, so it was going on longer than it ought to have lasted. And to begin with, as you know, nurses do in an appointment like that, everybody's chatting away to you, trying to keep you like nice and chill, um, and the energy in the room shifted, and I felt it acutely. And then it was me that was feeling the nervous energy. It was me that was like chitter chatter. It's like, why is everyone gone so quiet? Okay, I'll just speak loads, and so what are you doing this weekend? And nervous chatter. And the doctor absolutely changed tone and asked some questions. When did I have my last smear? Have I ever had an abnormal smear test results before? Various different bits and pieces. Done a more extensive like exam, and then when that part was all finished, said sat me down, and she looked me square in the eye, and she said, "I found something. It could be benign, but I'm 99% sure it's not." My heart could have just stopped right there and then, and I tried to gather my thoughts that were all a jumble, and I was like, "I'm sorry, are you talking about cancer?" And she said, "Yes, yes, I am. Very direct, very clear."
Mhm.
Uh, and I was like, "No, like I'm fit as a fiddle. I'm great. I'm really good. I feel brilliant." And she was like, "I've taken 5 biopsies. I've already sent them away for urgent testing, and we're going to send you for some blood work, and I'm going to see you back here in 4 days or something like that." Honestly, Kelly, it was. And the thing that really breaks my little heart is my mum was sitting out in the waiting room, and no one had asked if they could go get her so that she could be with me. And so I kind of walked out, and I must have been chalk white, and I dropped my bag everywhere, and everything went everywhere. And my mum came over, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And then honestly, I don't necessarily remember a huge amount. I remember blood's getting done, and then my world went dark for months, months, and it was a whirlwind. It was a terrible time. My body went into like collapse mode. So I would like I would get up and shower and go about the things that are so deeply ingrained, those habits that we do without even thinking about them. But was on the sofa, to be honest with you, for appointment after appointment after appointment. Turned back to comfort eating, that was hard. That was hard for me on the rebuild. That was hard because I had broken that. I had really overcome it in my 20s, and then I had, of course, I'm just completely in survival mode, so turned back to comfort, but fighting for your life. So like I'll take a couple of extra chocolate bars a week if that's what I need to do, like whatever we got to get through it. Um, and it was Christmas Eve 2019 when they phoned with my recommended treatment plan after my multidisciplinary team meeting. And then came the next big blow. I had to have pretty serious life-altering surgery and completely changed things for me and what the future means. And um, I'm still figuring that out, to be honest, what that means. I'm still healing a lot because it was very complicated. It wasn't just cancer. It then came with such significant loss, especially as a young woman, like about to start a family. It was very difficult. And I actually don't speak about that a huge amount because it's, like I say, still healing. And I promised myself in those dark, dark hours, um, if we get through this, if we get through this one, life's different on the other side. Like we will not play small. We will not even bat an eyelid at what anyone else might think of our greatness and our potential and our power. If people think I'm overconfident, no worries. If people think I'm too much, no problem. Like I am all in on life if I get to keep it.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah.
And so I had my surgery, and probably the bravest thing I've ever had to do in my whole life. I was devastated. I came home, I don't know, 4 days later, straight into lockdown. 2 days after I got home from my surgery, and we went straight into lockdown. My and this is where I told you there was more to this story, this part of the story. So my then husband, now ex-husband, took phenomenal care of me. Wonderful, wonderful man. Nothing but amazing things to say about him. Um, and we started building back, and everything changed. You can't go through something life-altering and be unaltered by it. That's not the point. That's not why you do it. I absolutely believe my belief system is complete faith in the path that I have been put here to walk. And you mentioned in my intro, you spoke about purpose and my mission. That's all part of it. There's nothing quite like surviving cancer to make you want to have a positive impact on the world around you, to help others create change. And it's a gift, and it's wild that I'm able to sit here and say it's a gift. It was a gift, but it was. And things that I lost, I absolutely believe will come back to me tenfold in different forms and guises. And in fact, that's already happening in my life. Um, yeah.
Yeah, how incredible. Just even the way that you reflect on your journey, Cheryl, we feel the emotion of it. Yeah. And um, again, this is where, for me, I would describe you as a warrior of love. You're just so anchored in your heart. And I know that that journey will have been very, 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 yeah, just treacherous at times. That's the word that's coming to mind. Just very, very dark at times. And holding on to that faith and almost making that commitment to yourself that if we get to the other side of this, life will be different. And I love how you've shared that because, and the way that you've described it as a gift as well, all of that then has changed your trajectory of
Yeah.
your life. And here you are sitting now, passing that gift along to others. And that's what I love because that's just really compounded your um your purpose. It's really, really anchored you into that heart space to be that guiding light. So when others feel like they don't have hope or they've lost their faith or they've come off their path, which I don't ever believe we ever do, we use that kind of, I don't feel that there ever is a wrong path, but we use that expression if you like, but you sitting here today are giving people, you're holding that hope and that faith or being that mirror to say, it's not gone, it's there. And I can show you I can show you the steps to get yourself back into alignment, back into a place of harmony, back into a place of ease rather than dis-ease. Because, gallstones, cancer, being overweight, whatever physical manifestation, it's all a manifestation of the emotional state, the mental state, and the spiritual state that we carry. So it's all energy, it's all our energetic signature, it's our frequency. And what we're all trying to do is find our way home
Mhm.
to that heart space, find our way home to love. And we cannot do this journey alone. We don't live in isolation. We're human beings. We're here to connect through the heart and to have such deep purpose within yourself to help others, to guide them back to that heart space, without judgment of, how they look or what their lived experience has been. It's like, I've got you, I can guide you home. And that for me is what you emanate. You are just that beautiful divine emanation of pure love that's not, there's no judgment. It's like, look, I've been to the belly of the beast. I've been to these dark places, but I've also been to these incredible places of the other side, the joy, the light. And really, it's like showing what you've described as this dualistic nature of life itself.
Right.
It can't be up in the bliss state all the time. Of course, that's where we wish to be, but we cannot evolve and grow as a soul without the lessons, without the challenges, without the incredible opportunities to learn and evolve. And to only be in your mid-30s, to have so many lessons, massive lessons in your life. It's almost like an accelerated experience that you've had. Um, And I talk about the awakening journey, very rarely do I come across as someone that's had like one awakening experience. There have been many sort of anchor points in their life that's really fast-tracked their own ascension, their own awakening journey. So I just want to reflect that back and honor like you for, I call it signing up for the gig, as a soul, coming in to this earthly incarnation to say, right, I'm on mission. I'm
Yeah,
going to break through these barriers.
yeah.
And this is a lifetime I'm going to do it. And many of us are experiencing lifetimes of challenges to break through. So, my goodness, you've really signed up for the gig now. I think you're taking some for the team as well,
I
and
think
for
so. But do you know what the best bit is, Kelly? So thank you so much for honestly everything that you're saying and just for creating such a safe space for me to speak so openly and honestly and vulnerably as well.
yeah,
Um, but the best bit, my life has never been better than it is right now. Like it's magnificent. Now, I'm not saying all day, every day, but because of my learnings and my mission and the things I've seen, I just live in a very different way. I am 6 years alcohol free. Best thing I've ever done. Like best thing I've ever done. It is honestly utopia on the other side of that decision. My fitness where I sort of played about with it before as a means to lose weight. That's not my goal at all. Now I'm like, I want to be as strong as possible. I want to be alpha. I want to be aggressive. I want to be tearing up that track at competitions. And I want people to be like, move out the way. She is here. Like that is, and that fight. Like I've been building this woman, this warrior woman, I guess. And I think I said this to you when we first met, but even the weight loss, I've had to have extensive surgery to have like the skin removed and things. I am top to toe scars. Like my battle wounds are there for all to see. And I'm proud. Like I'm so proud of them. But everything, and I don't know if I'd quite use the language like I'm being rewarded. I don't know if it's quite that, but I think like when we trust ourselves and invest in ourselves. This is the thing. Like I started working with a life coach after I went through all of those things. And I hadn't really realized it, but I've been coaching everybody my whole life anyway, because I do have this gift of energy and because I have had the learnings from an early age. And because I've consumed information and knowledge around building confidence. Like I didn't know that's what I was doing necessarily, but like had my head in vogue from an early age, and I read about the power of dressing and how it makes you feel like a badass, and like so I've been learning things, and my friends would always come and ask me about like hair and makeup, and some people might think like, well, that's vanity. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Anything that makes you feel fantastic, it's a worthwhile endeavor. Anything at all. And then as my career kind of skyrocketed after I had lost the weight in my 20s and built this like, oh, I'm actually like quite capable and quite smart. And when we do hard things, we've got evidence, right? We're building that proof of like, well, I done that hard thing and everything was actually better on the other side of it. And I done that hard thing. And honestly, that's where the love of fitness competitions comes from. Like, who does that? Who signs up for things where you feel like for an hour and a half or all day that you're just trying to breathe? Like, no, who does that? It's so exhilarating. And then you get to the other side of it and you're like, that's the biggest high I've ever had in my whole entire life. Can we go again? And so that is the way my lifestyle. I've really invested in it, and I really like walk my talk, like I really do, and that's why people come and work with me so that they can learn that too, and hopefully they don't have to go through the same path and that accelerated learning. That I love that language; it's beautiful. Hopefully they don't have to go through those things. But no matter what challenges and obstacles come our way, we can absolutely rise stronger and more alignment and deeper with a deeper connection to ourselves. I continue to do this work. I journal every day. I still work with a coach 6 years later, or however many years later, and um, I watch out for myself all the time. Is that ego? Why am I doing that? Why am I interested in this business deal over here? Why over here? Like I'm very aware, but I'm also just here to like spread my message, and my mission as far and wide as possible to let others know like we can be anything, but only you get to decide and determine and design who you want that to be. It's not for anyone else's opinion or judgment. It's whatever makes your heart sing and like lights you up.
Mhm.
That is your fire. Like, don't let it go out.
Yeah. You're just a bundle of motivation. It's the drive, it's the ambition, the competitive edge that you bring is so beautiful. But it's not that you're in competition with anyone else. It's
No.
just like you're doing it for you. It's to be better for you. And that's definitely what's coming across,
Yeah.
which is just so, so beautiful as well. So, Cheryl, thank you for sharing everything that you have. This is just like I'm sitting here like I want to go, I want to go. Tell everybody here, what is a day in the life of Cheryl Findlay like these days?
Okay, that's an amazing question. I love it. So what I would say, and I shared something on this that I've never spoke about before. Obviously I noted and I know the audience will be not completely, but mostly female. And so I don't want to skip past it because it feels like a mistake to do so.
Mhm.
My marriage did end, and the build back from everything that we went through. Related, unrelated, who can say? Life is life. Um, but I actually met my soulmate earlier this year, which is,
Congratulations.
thank you. It's honestly been incredible, incredible, incredible. Um, and that's just been such a blessing, like such a absolute blessing. Um, and so a day in the life of Sheryl Findlay, I am an early riser. I get up at 4:40 every day.
Wow, that is
Yep,
lovely.
it's early. I meditate. I have coffee and breakfast. I set my intention for how I want to feel that day, for the energy I want to embody, and for the message I want to put out. People can follow me on Instagram. It's at She Find Said So, like Sheryl Findlay said so. And I put a morning mantra out every day. I've done it for 6.5 years. I'd actually done it before everything happened. And then I go hit the gym. I train a lot. It is more, I do use the word athlete. Our words have huge power. And so the way we talk to ourselves really matters. And so for me to up my competitive game, I was like, no, I do need to use that language because that's what I'm doing. I'm competing alongside elite athletes. So I need to use that language for myself as well. I go and there'll be some sort of like either weightlifting or cardio conditioning, or this morning it was interval sprints. And then a home shower, glam, outfit, that whole thing. And I do take time to enjoy that process, but I also feel like it's getting me ready for the day. And then it's usually into meetings. Try not to be back to back. I've learned a lot, especially recently, actually. I've learned, so I have juggled my life coaching practice and growing and scaling that business alongside my corporate career, so marketing and brand strategy, for a number of years. And so I have a lot on my plate, but it's all stuff that I love. And all of my business learnings, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's communications, it all lends itself so well to all of the coaching I do as well, because every woman, every person that I work with has career and business aspirations. And so that's actually just like an additional thing that I can bring into what I'm doing. Um, some days I will be doing photo shoots. I do a little bit of like fitness modeling as well, which I love. So there will be photo shoots in there somewhere. And sometimes I sneak back to the gym in the evenings as well. I train with a team. It's a fitness team. And I must admit, that has been a game changer, because when there is a group of people waiting and expecting you to be somewhere, you're not going to cancel your gym session. So that's actually a top tip I would like to give to people. If you're just embarking upon a journey of fitness, wellness, get an accountability partner or sign up for something with a group, because you will meet people who will open your mind and expand your heart. And you're going to work harder when you're in a team than you work by yourself, like you just are. And it can be so much fun. I have never fallen in love with fitness the way that I have this last 3 years by joining a fitness team. It's been incredible. Then there's Sometimes I coach in the evenings as well. I obviously work around people's schedules, so quite often I'll have coaching meetings with my one-to-one clients. You mentioned I've got a membership. I do 2 calls a month with my membership. Like I'm on a lot. I am on a lot, but I do take time to restore. And I think my lifestyle sets me up to deliver in that way. I love it. And the right things will give you energy,
Yeah,
and the things that aren't in alignment will drain your energy, and that's how you'll know.
yeah, amazing. So, what would be your advice to somebody who is maybe sedentary like me, maybe overweight like myself, got into sort of like a pattern of um, not living their life in the best way that they could possibly do? What would be like the first thing you would say to somebody just to start them off?
So the first thing I would say would be cut yourself some slack. We're only ever doing the best that we can do. Quickly followed by, how do you want to feel?
Yeah.
And visualize it. How do you want to feel in a week, 2 week, 3 months? We set goals for a reason. And if we just try to eat healthy and move our body because we think we should, it's just not going to cut the mustard. Because when you're fatigued or there's something else pops up, as soon as a challenge hits, you're not going to stick to it. You need a little goal.
Hmm. Hmm.
So be kind to yourself, be clear on why you want to feel better, and then what for? What is the goal?
Great advice. Great advice. So you briefly mentioned your one-to-one coaching, Cheryl, and your membership. where can people find out more information about how they can work with you and what, what that one-to-one package looks like, what your membership looks like? Where can we find more information?
Yeah, so just come on over to my Instagram. I live on there. Like I do a lot, I share a lot, loads of value add, loads of motivational content, loads of pep talks. I speak about my packages as well. There's some client testimonials there. Website under construction at the moment. I actually have a funny view about websites and things like that at the moment, but I have all of that stuff on Instagram and so much more. So that's definitely the place to come along. And I am actually onboarding. I have two cheeky slots for the rest of this year to come and work with me on a one-to-one basis to help you thrive through the rest of 25, get that rock star confidence that we spoke about, and just get you really motoring towards the things that you want. And then I also have an absolutely phenomenal, beautiful community, this membership that I established in January. And I use the word sanctuary in it because it's really important to me that it feels like a safe space. And the friendships that have been formed in there, the support, completely judgment free. Like some of the stuff that gets like spoke about in there, you're like, what? This is like absolutely popping off. But it's amazing because when people speak honestly, and that's why thank you so much, Kelly, for having me today, but also for really encouraging me and creating a safe space for me to speak openly. Because when we hear other people's real life struggles and things they've been through, or just when we're just honest, even things like I haven't spoke about divorce before, but there are so many people that have reached out to me because it's a devastating thing to go through. It's absolutely devastating. And so the more we talk about some of these, what were perhaps taboo subject,
Mhm.
the easier it's going to be to navigate life when we feel less alone.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I always talk about freedom through honesty, being honest with ourselves first and foremost, and just losing the fear.
Yeah.
So it's just been so beautiful to listen to your story, to be in your company today, Cheryl. And I know that everybody watching and listening was like, oh my God, she is amazing because you are. And I
Thank you.
love how you own that. You don't shy away from that either. And again, that's a beautiful gift that you're passing on to others. It's like, give yourself permission. What are you waiting for? It's just so, so beautiful. I'll drop all your links below this
Thank you.
episode. But before we go, I would like to give you a little gift in return, Cheryl. So I would love if I could share one of my Oracle card messages with you.
Please.
So I've started to do this with guests that come on. So I've got an Oracle deck, which is available on Amazon. The link's down below. It's the Soul Call. So it's my own card deck and guidebook. And this was like a beautiful passion project of mine last year. And we've been talking about the awakening journey and what that's looked like for Cheryl. And a lot of what is in this deck is based on my own awakening journey and experiences. So I would love to pull a card for you and for all our listeners and viewers today, for you just to tuck away in your heart. And it's almost the perfect card. It is the perfect card. She looks a lot like you, actually.
She's got a great bouncy blow dry going on.
Love it. Integrate and embody.
Body.
Yeah. Connect to higher wisdom. And it's so perfect because we've got all these pieces of ourselves that we are gathering through our life and piecing together this whole soul story, if you like. But if we don't anchor it in and integrate and embody all of this, then it's all just flying around, isn't it? So, integrate and embody invites you to call forth all aspects of your soul's journey, including the profound connection to your higher, wiser self. This higher self represents the most elevated aspect of your being, encompassing the full energy of your spiritual essence and acting as a direct link to the divine source. In this dawning Aquarian age, where unity and collective consciousness are paramount, integrating and embodying your higher self is crucial. This process allows for a fuller expression of your divine nature and enhances your ability to contribute to the collective evolution of humanity. As we transition into this new era, your spiritual task is to merge the wisdom, strengths, and lessons of all facets of your being into your present consciousness. This synthesis, I can't even say that today, this synthesis not only accelerates your spiritual growth, but also empowers you to realize your highest potential and contribute to the greater cosmic tapestry. To integrate and embody your higher self, regularly practice meditation, inviting this aspect of yourself to unify with your current awareness. Visualize a unifying light merging these parts into a harmonious whole. Use affirmations, visualizations, and journaling to explore and integrate the wisdom of your higher self. Engage in grounding activities and connect with nature to reinforce this integration. From one to all, my soul does call, unity's embrace, my spiritual grace. Higher self's light, shine so bright, guide my steps in Aquarian light. What a perfect card for you. And I feel it really summarises everything that's come through in this beautiful retelling of not just your story, but all the incredible lessons that are now your shiniest gifts to share with the world in the service that you're here to provide humanity with, Sheryl. So thank you so much for being here today, for being this incredible soul. I call it boots on the ground, you know, this angelic human self that you are, who's here to light the way for others and to show others, look, I'm here as this guiding light to support you all of the way.
Absolutely amazing. Kelly, thank you so much. That card was perfect, really profound. I feel really moved. So thank you for that gift, and thank you for everything you're doing for creating spaces like this, for allowing us to tell stories that provide hope and support and inspiration. You're phenomenal. I'm so glad that our paths crossed. Of course they did. There's no coincidence.
Of course.
And I cannot wait to continue to champion and support each other as we go forth.
Bless you. Thank you so much, Sheryl. And
Thank you.
thank you to everybody for tuning in to this episode today. Big love, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Soul Call with Kelly B today. If this episode spoke to your heart, I'd be so grateful if you'd take a moment to like, subscribe, or share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support truly means the world, and it helps this message ripple even further. And if you're feeling called to explore more of my work, my latest offerings, sessions, and ways to connect are all in the show notes below. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, keep listening to your beautiful soul. With so much love, Kelly.